Alright, so Princess Diana's transition pictures. She came onto the scene for most ordinary British people around 1981 when she got engaged to Prince Charles, but she'd been around the royal family for a very, very long time. She mixed with that group from being a baby. Their marriage was unsuccessful. It fell apart after 5 years, and she was heavily traumatized by all the attention she got. I remember those parts. I didn't follow her life, but I remember those parts. And of course she died in 1997 because of the paparazzi chasing her through Paris, and they crashed in a tunnel in the Pont d'Alma in Paris. When I went into the pictures, there was this symbolic tunnel entrance that I always see. And her spirit, her consciousness, her life force, or whatever this thing is, was standing there. Like a little girl, actually, not like a grown woman, but like a little girl, staring at the ground. She needed to take a moment. There was an appraisal going on within herself of what had happened. You know when those cargo planes are flying in midair and the back door opens and they push the cargo out and it goes into free fall? It felt like the reverse of that she'd been in free fall and that now she was more stable. She had no fight left. But as she started to rise up, as these currents, these angel hands I always say, pulled her forward, grace pulled her forward, she found she couldn't go forward because attached to her arms were like silky gossamer threads that were tied to the ground and just held her there, tethered like a balloon. She couldn't go forward, even though the current was moving her forward. Eventually, she just went down again and began pulling these silky threads from the ground. And when they did, I heard, like, you know, you pluck a violin string, blunk, blunk, blunk. It was like that. Each one was blunk, blunk, blunk. But it had to be concerted effort. You had to focus on doing it and pull it out. Once she had them all plucked out, she was free to go. And I thought, these are ties to the people she's leaving behind. Not just sons, her brother, or whoever was around, but other people. These were all connections to those people. Because as she lifted up, she didn't release them from her wrist. They were going with her. She wound them around her wrist. So she had like tendrils of gossamer hanging from her wrists as she moved forward. Now, she didn't float down the tunnel. She floated near the symbolic, metaphorical ceiling of this tunnel. Didn't understand that initially either. And she stuck very close to the ceiling as she moved forward. Still not sure what all this was, only that there was no tumult anymore. This was calm and peaceful and gentle and embracing, effortless. She floats along, and after a while, she comes to a blockage. You know in science fiction films when they have those doors that slide down from the ceiling? Well, this was like a half-closed door blocking her way. And what happened, what I felt was happening here, was that universal forces, these unseen forces around her, were saying, you've got those things wrapped around your wrist. Yeah, these are my loved ones. These are people I cared about through all the tumult, the ones who cared for me when things were going bad. And the universal forces go, no, 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 no. That's not how this game is played. You have to leave behind your connection to ego, the mortal, the world you're leaving behind. That has to remain there. You are going somewhere else. And the blockage in the tunnel was preventing her going forward until she agreed to let go of these responsibilities, of her sense of duty to certain people. And she unwound them from her wrist, both wrists, these tendrils of silky gossamer thread, and let them flutter to the ground. At which point she was able to go lower. She peered under the door thing, the blockage, because now she could. She wasn't way up there in the ceiling. Maybe she was so scared for a lot of her life when she was extremely famous and an icon that she clung to the ceiling because that represented some kind of safety, limits, comfort zone or whatever. But she sank and was able to get under the blockage. And she peered through. It was much brighter on the other side. And now she can go forward. She arrives in that place that I always see symbolically as a dome, a membrane, a light, or whatever. But something happened this time that I have not seen before or experienced before. And I'm not even sure I have the words to describe the depth of emotion around this experience, actually. She approached the light, and there was still a part of her that hadn't released her recent past. She hesitated. But the sadness, the feeling of sadness, of dejection, of unfinished business, of I can't go, there are people, that feeling of not wanting to leave was so strong. And it's almost as if the universe recognized a wounded heart. Because in my head, in the pictures, obviously not real, but in pictures, two arms of grace, of light, of warmth, of comfort, wrapped around her and pulled her in. Come here. We'll put it right. We'll stop the hurting. Just trust. Come on. And she was pulled into the light. She didn't resist. She just went with it, but it needed that extra pull to separate her from her earthly existence. And went into the light and vanished. Amazing. That's it. Thank you very, very much for watching. I totally appreciate it, as always. Subscribe, like, share, do what you can. Or follow me on Twitter, @CashPeters. That would be lovely too. Alright, see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.